So, after very long time, I'm going to post some new videos about the philosophy in English because after months, I think more than 2 months or 4 months, I think I never had a chance to post you in a in English video. So let's talk about the philosophy and the just a general idea about the philosophy. In love of wisdom in ancient Greek, the systematic study of the general fundamental questions and the topics concerned about the existence and the reasoning, knowledging, and the values and the mind. Also, the language. That's it is the rational and the critical inquiry that reflects on its own methods and the assumptions. Actually, so these who are the philosophers? Plato, Kant, Nietzsche, Lord Buddha, and Confucius, and Avicenna. So those are the philosophers, right? Uh, there are some philosophies. If you talk about the concepts, uh, etymology. First of all, let us to understand about this philosophy. It's in history, history. If you say the historical, many of the individuals and science and like physics and philosophy has great comparison, great compatibility, right? And also compatibility. If you also formed if you see the form and the part of the philosophy, but they are considered as separate academic disciplines and the modern sets of term in philosophy, right? And also the main tradition in the history of philosophy include the Western and Arab Persian and also Indian and Chinese philosophy. There are some kinds of philosophical ways, philosophical methods, right? Major branches of the philosophy is epistemology, ethics, logics, and metaphysics. Metaphysics is a very huge subject. It's a branches of the particle physics, thermal physics, as well as astrophysics, those aerodynamics and thermal physics and nuclear physics, right? So those are the some sub subjects, which is once it goes to the branches, those are the branch studies, right? And also epistemology actually studies what the knowledge is and how to acquire it. This is a very difficult subject, by the way, and when you go deep into that, totally deep into that, it's very complicated subject, right? Ethics and the investigation investigates and the moral principles and also what constitutes right conduct, the logic of the study and the correct reasoning and the explores and how good arguments can be distinguished for the bad ones. Also, it's kind of comparison, right? And also metaphysics examine the most general features of the reality, like the existence and the objects and their properties, and also space and the time and the causation, this kind of things. It's a big branch. And also other notable subfields and subjective fields, like philosophy of language, philosophy of mind, also philosophy of the religion, Islamic philosophy, Buddhist philosophy, Christianity, and Catholicism and Judaism, philosophy of science, and the political philosophy, and aesthetics. Also, it's a kind of a part of a philosophy, right? And also, philosophers use the great varieties of the methods to arrive the philosophical knowledge. It's a kind of arriving the philosophical knowledge and include the conceptual analysis and the reliance of the common sense and the intuitions. intuitions. Also, thought thought of experiments, and also analysis of the ordinary knowledge, and description of the experiences, as well as critical questioning. Also, philosophy is related to the many other fields like science, mathematics, business, law, and journalism as well, right? So these are the branches of the subjective branches of the philosophy. So even more further, it provides the some kind of interdisciplinary perspectives at the studies of the scope of once you scope up the fundamental concepts, right? It's a kind of a fundamental concepts. Also, it's investigates their methods and the ethical impactions, right? Also applications, those kind of things. So what is etymology? What do you mean by the etymology, right? There are branches of the philosophy. We can say philosophy of language, logic, metaphilosophy, and metaphysics, and philosophy of mind. Also philosophy of mathematics. There are a number of things. No, epistemology, philosophy. You can say by the field, and also ethics. There are ethical issues, right? So the word philosophy comes from the etymology, comes from the ancient Greek called love, right? Also, also it's like a wisdom. It's kind of a wisdom. So when it comes to etymologically, it means the love and the wisdom. Love and the wisdom. Some sources claim, some historical sources claim that the term was coined uh, by the mathematician, famous mathematician called Pythagoras. And but it's not the certain. It's a aristocratic philosopher called Pythagoras. Actually, he is not a aristocratic philosopher. Instead of aristocratic philosopher, we can say he is a great mathematician, right? You know, it's a Pythagoras theorem, and number of 5 by 2 or 5 22 divided by 7. So many mathematical disciplines and the concepts he was found, right? The word entered the English language primarily to the Old French and Anglo-Norman, starting around was 1175 CE, right? It's all about let's say it's all about 900 years before, or no, 900, yeah, around 900 years before. So the French philosophers itself, borrowing from the Latin philosophia, the language. So so that's how it comes, the philosophy. And the term philosophy acquired and some extinct still retains. You can say it's got a still retains, and the meaning and advanced study of the speculative subjects called logic, ethics, physics, and the metaphysics as well. So metaphysics also I'm gonna explain you later about several key issues and several subjects, and also that's kind of a critical thing, and it's very hard to understand. Like you can say the particle physics, and also uh, thermodynamics, those kind of branches of the physics, and also it's a separate subject. So I'm gonna explain you later by the different subject perspectives, and different subjective videos, because this is a huge channel. You know, my channel is all about the religion, philosophy, and the human rights, and also freedom, and some kind of history as well, because I love history. I love general history and the Arabic history, as well as Eastern and the Western history, European history, prehistory. Because this is my subject, you know, I love it. Even though I'm doing system engineering and all those things, all those other stuffs, I love the history. history make the man proud and as a nation, as a proud nation, and we have to study everything into deep. I'm not a believer of somebody say me something. Perhaps I'm not a believer of just blindly. I'm not gonna believe anything unless I find the facts. Right? So before the modern age, the philosophy was used in very wide sense, include the most forms of the ration inquiry and the individual, like the individual science as the subdisciplines. And for instance, the natural philosophy was considered the major branch of the philosophy, and also it is uh, encompassed a wide range of fields, including the disciplines like physics, chemistry, and biology, and mathematics. Physics and mathematics both are the same relational subjects. You can say, for example, if you see the this usage of the 1687 book Philosophia Naturalis et Principia Mathematica by Isaac Newton. He's instead of English, he write in the Spanish language, like it's a kind of old language, old text, right? So the book is referred in natural philosophy, and its title, but today is considered as a book of physics. So what has happened actually here? The book of philosophy is been transferred into the book of physics, right? So the meaning of philosophy, it changed towards the end of the modern period of acquired a modern narrow meaning common today. This is new sense, and the term mainly associated with the philosophical disciplines like metaphysics and epistemology and ethics also, as we explained earlier, right? And it covers the rational study of reality, knowledge, values, but also distinguish of other disciplines as well as of relational inquiry, like empirical science and the mathematics, right? So it's a kind of a conceptions of the philosophy. When you come to the conceptions, there are general conceptions and the academic definition. Let's talk about the definition of philosophy. And I would say when you come to the definitions of the philosophy, it's aimed at determining what all forms of the philosophy have the common, and how to distinguish philosophy from other disciplines. There are many different definitions and have been proposed, but there is a very little agreement, which is the little one. Which is the little branches, like the, if you say the definitions of mathematics and the definition, science and the definition, and the, also family remembrance, even though they do not have all share the same characteristics features, also behavioral features and the disciplinary, some different empirical evidence, like other focus, and the wideness of the topic is it's huge, right? It's a science, and it's all about science and its subsidiaries when it comes to the philosophy, right? So many definitions we have. Let's see, we will talk about the definitions and the general characteristics and the source of disagreements, as well as deflationism and the uh, essentialism, and also family remembrance, right? So we will talk about the Aristotle and substance of the Greek philosophers, and later today, if I have a time to make a video, because I'm very busy these days. So let's all about very little about the philosophy. We will talk about everything in the future, because one by one I have to do it, because there are some I'm going to post about the about the religious studies like Islam, Catholicism, and Buddhism, like that kind of things, and the philosophy comparison and also combination of those things, and the substance and the essence of characteristics, characterizing all those things, and Platonic idealism also, the permanent, and it's all about the ethics and the human mankind history and everything. And see you then. Have a great day. Bye bye, and God bless you. And salam alaikum to everybody. Bye bye. See you another good video. Stay with us.